Hey, Bruiser Buddies, this is Wrestling Nostalgia with Dave Dynasty.
Before we dive into the episode, make sure you hit subscribe on the podcast platform you're listening on. Also, follow me on X at The Dave Dynasty and subscribe on YouTube by looking up Nostalgic Dave Dynasty. You can also buy one of my shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com/The Dave Dynasty. Now, enjoy the show.
Welcome to 1 hour of the toughest, roughest wrestling you'll ever see.
That's right, Dick the Bruiser said it all.
The big question, have you got the endurance? Have you got the brains to get past the excellence of execution?
The reason why Axe and myself were put on this earth is to demolish people.
Bobby Heenan, that is a very good-looking sport coat you've got on.
Yeah, and I paid for mine. Mine isn't government issue.
Hello, everybody. Lance Russell and Dave Brown right along ringside. And by golly, we're ready to go with another big week of championship wrestling.
Greetings, wrestling fans, and welcome to Wrestling Nostalgia. I'm your host, Dave Dynasty. Thank you for joining me for another episode. And on this one, my guest is Rocky Turner, owner of the Nerd Closet and co-creator of the Mat Maniacs figure line. And we're going to talk all about toys in just a little bit. Speaking of toys, I finally posted the unboxing videos that were for the figures sent to me by the Nerd Closet, Figures Toy Company, and the KWK brand. So go check out my YouTube channel and give them a watch. And while you're there, be sure to subscribe. All right, let's take a quick break. And when I come back, I'll have my interview with Rocky Turner. So stick around. Filsinger Games is a tabletop cards and dice game company that has enjoyed success for over 3 decades. Their first game was Champions of the Galaxy and was released in 1986. Champions of the Galaxy is a tabletop game that features professional wrestling over 100 years in the future. Humans, aliens, and monsters battle in the Galactic Wrestling Federation for belts. Legends of Wrestling features officially licensed wrestling cards featuring stars like Ted DiBiase, Jimmy Snuka, Harley Race, and many, many more, including game sets for independent promotions. Each match takes place in real time. The action is fast and furious, and all the things that happen in pro wrestling, like cage matches, outside interference, 3-man tag matches, they also happen in the games. You have the opportunity to run your own wrestling promotion involving either real life stars or fictional characters of the future, or you can mix and match both. Visit filsingergames.com for more information and to order the games today. That is Filsinger Games, FILSINGERGAMES.com to order now. If you like horror movies, be sure to check out Dave Dynasty and Ike Isaacs on the Listen to Their Screams Horror Podcast. It is available on all podcast platforms and on social media at Listen to Screams. That is Listen, the number 2 in Screams. All right, and welcome back to Wrestling Nostalgia. Like I said earlier, we're going to talk toys. And who better to do that with than the owner and operator of the Nerd Closet and the co-creator of the Mat Maniacs figure line, Rocky Turner. Sir, how are you?
I'm good, Dave. Thanks for having me, bud.
Of course. Well, let's get some background on Rocky first. What are your first memories of wrestling? When did pro wrestling hook you?
Oh, man. I would say probably early 80s.
Okay.
Me and a friend of mine from school used to watch, especially NWA wrestling.
Yep.
Flair and all the good ones back then. A lot of times it was on Saturdays, I believe, here. So I kind of got hooked there, and then it just progressed as things picked up. You know how it was in the 80s, and Hulk Hogan started, and
sure,
wrestling took off like wildfire. And, you know, next thing I know, I'm watching Saturday Night's Main Event. I'm watching the WrestleManias. Also, pretty much did not miss All American Wrestling on Sundays because I remember my girlfriend's grandmother. That was what was on the television. And you were not allowed to touch the channel. So I got a lot of exposure right there, and going right into my teenage years and high school and stuff. I actually went to my first WrestleMania, WrestleMania 8. That was a dandy to start out with.
Yeah.
Double main event, Macho Flair, and then Hogan Sid Justice. Of course, Warrior came out and saved his hind end at the end from Papa Shango.
Yeah. Was that the one in Indianapolis?
It was the Hoosier Dome.
Are you from Indiana?
No, I'm actually from West Virginia.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And then I married into Ohio. So now I live in Ohio.
Gotcha. Well, I'm originally from Indiana. That's why I asked that. I'm not there now, but spent the majority of my life in Indiana.
Right.
So yeah. So and it's funny. I love when people bring up wrestling grandmas because they were such a staple. I mean, my grandma is what got me into wrestling. She watched religiously. And so as long as I can remember, when I was at her house, and I spent a lot of time at her house on the weekends, she was watching wrestling, so I was watching wrestling. So I've always credited her with developing this lifelong addiction.
And it's funny that it almost seems like they watched it so they wouldn't really beat the crap out of anybody in real life.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. My grandma probably would have if the situation were right. She still would have. But and she was she loved the good guys, hated the bad guys. It didn't matter who they were.
But that was back when kayfabe was.
That's right.
Going strong. Nobody knew anything about what was going on until you were staring at it in the face.
That's right. And she was the definition of kayfabe.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. I mean,
it was.
I know things have changed, and I get it. New product, everybody knows what's going on ahead of time, but I don't know. I missed the good old days where you were still able to be surprised. And occasionally they're able to do that, but on a very limited basis, because of the internet. But
yeah, well, I will tell you, man, there came to that point, right, where you wonder, right? You think, something's not true with this. You get that feel. And then I got to the point where I did, read some of the newsletters, the quote unquote dirt sheets. So I understood, but it didn't matter. Outwardly, I would fight a person who said wrestling was fake, quote unquote fake. It didn't matter what I knew. I would defend wrestling.
I would too.
And it didn't matter if I had what I knew or my notions. No one else could say it. This was my thing, and you weren't going to put it down.
I used to tell my wife it was soap operas for guys.
It definitely, yeah. Yeah,
with a lot of violence.
Yeah, I mean, it was destination viewing every week. I so much of my life was planned around watching a wrestling show. And it's yeah, you're right. It's not that way for me anymore, which is okay. I know things change, things whatever. So that's why I still watch the old stuff, and I watch what I love.
Yeah, I mean, anymore it's a lot of smoke and mirrors, and the entertainment value is very high. It's very visual. Storytelling probably a little bit more difficult now that the kayfabe is gone.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things I wish still existed. I wish there was just nobody knew what was coming next, but
yeah,
take the good with the bad. It is a definitely upgraded version from what we seen as kids. I mean, as far as the fireworks and the lighting and the lasers and the jumbotrons and all that stuff. It's all It almost comes down to everybody's more excited for the entrances than they are the actual match.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny. As a kid, I don't know that I would have liked that. I was more the gritty raw. That's why I leaned towards NWA, Jim Crockett, and things. But I would always say, I like WWE. I watch WWE, but I would always say, they're a little childish. But this stuff, this is the stuff right here. This is wrestling. So I always leaned towards. So I don't know, as a kid, I don't know if I would have took to it the same with so much polish.
I think I lean more towards the NWA and, of course, AWA on late night ESPN.
Yep, me too.
And every so often, if we were traveling south, we'd catch Georgia Championship Wrestling or Mid-South or whatever was on the tube at the time. But overall, I'm still a fan of pro wrestling.
Me too. Yeah.
Especially the memories that it created for me back in the day, and to be able to essentially work with a lot of these guys I grew up watching wrestling.
Yeah.
It's an honor. I mean, it really is. It's not where I thought I would be at 50.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so that's okay, that's the wrestling side. So tell us then about toys, right? The toy side. What were some of the first toy lines that pulled you in and started hooking you as a kid?
Oh man. I'm gonna say
let me interrupt. You just said you're 50, is that correct? You just said that? Me too, right? You're the exact same age as me. I'm 50 as well. So I think there's gonna be a lot of similar brands that I think you're probably gonna name. So go ahead then. What were some of those toy lines?
I mean, let's be honest. The first one I ever really started collecting to where I had to have every single one was probably Masters of the Universe.
Correct. Yep. Me too.
With a sprinkle of the knockoff stuff, which we thought they were knockoff back then, but the Remcos were always available.
Yep.
And it was just a little bit of everything growing up because, Star Wars was a big deal. I mean, I had a ton of Star Wars. I had a ton of G.I. Joe.
Me too. I
mean, all the vintage stuff, I had some or a lot of.
Me too.
And the wrestling started, I remember going to like KB Toys, and we have a place called GC Murphy's that was a department store here. And it was always flooded, and Hex and Hills was always flooded with LJN figures.
That's right. Love Hills.
So I had, George the Animal Steel, Ricky the Steamboat. I'm trying to think of some of the other LJNs I had. I had probably a dozen of them.
Yeah.
JYD. Probably had a Macho in there.
Yeah.
But that started my wrestling collection, and of course I had a couple Remcos. I didn't have all of them, but I got the 3-pack that had Road Warrior, Animal, and Hawk.
Yep.
Had that, and that progressively went into I would say Hasbro was probably first. And then I started getting into the BCAs a little bit.
Yep.
So let's be honest, I've been a collector of toys, and I'm not just saying one kind of toys, all toys.
Yep.
Since I was probably 6, 7 years old.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. And I remember it's like, again, my first wrestling line again was the LJNs as well. And I got those from a friend of my mom's, right? We went over for a Christmas dinner at her house, and she gave me a Hulk and Andre and a ring. From the LJN line, and I already loved wrestling. She knew I loved wrestling, and I was so stoked. And I would find them here and there, but we had a place near us called Value City, which was almost like one of those. I don't know what you would call it, right? They always had stuff a little after everybody else. They had like the overstock type stuff.
So it was kind of like a Big Lots.
Yeah, kind of like a Big Lots, right? Or an Ollie's for those people that know what Ollie's is, things like that. And we would go there pretty regularly, and they always had lots of LJNs, and they always had like past line, yeah. So I got so many there, and of course, they were, again, being an overstock, they were cheaper than other stores.
Well, that's the thing that the collector doesn't understand. Some of the younger ones don't understand nowadays. Is back then it was a guess.
Yeah.
These toy companies to just say, okay, well, based on our projections, we're going to sell 50,000 units of Hulk Hogan, 20,000 units of Andre. They had to guess based on projections.
Yep.
And you know as well as I do that a lot of times those projections were high. They didn't sell a lot of one or the other.
Yep.
And then they ended up in those stores like Value City, Big Lots, Hex, and places like that for half the cost, where Nowadays, and even the big toy companies, they don't play that game anymore.
Yep, correct.
It's a lot of made to order type of deal, and their ultimate goal is not to make sure everybody has the figures, but to sell out every single one that they make.
Yeah.
And there is no more bargain bins. Now, granted, we see stuff at Ross and TJ Maxx and places like that.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, those figures are probably purchased at a discount ahead of time.
Yeah.
It's no different than Walmart and Target and all these other places that carry the new stock. Those type of stores are already buying stock, but at a lesser cost because they're getting them late.
Yeah.
So it's a game. And even with the indie toy companies, and they know where I'm coming from here.
Yeah.
That it is a game. It's a risky thing where you're trying to figure out, okay, I sold this many. How many extra do I make? And my rule of thumb is I make what people order, obviously.
Yep.
I add maybe 15% for damage. Because let's be honest, the shipping companies just absolutely murder product from China to here.
Yep.
And then maybe 25% more stock just for those FOMO type of people who waited to see what happens.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, yeah, you can go back and order more, but still you're playing with fire the whole time. You just don't know what's going to sell and what doesn't. You assume a lot. You say, oh man, I'm going to do, the Road Warriors, they're going to sell out. Well, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Yep.
So it's a crapshoot anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be, sometimes you have to just guess and hope you're right.
Yeah. I mean, you're essentially, you're trying to project, right, the demand, and it's a weird thing, right? Because sometimes, like you mentioned, a quote unquote popular name, big name, may not sell quite as well. Maybe because there's so many other options. Maybe, I don't know.
Could be.
Yeah, but sometimes this really weird, odd, maybe a first time in a figure kind of guy may sell just like crazy because again, it's a first time. It's right. You're projecting the nostalgia, right? Who are these? Who's everybody wanting? And
you don't know, and
it's not a science.
Yeah, it could be any of them.
Yeah,
I mean, you could make 20 different figures, and only one or two of them are big sellers.
That's right. Yeah, it's a peculiar thing, and so keeping in the twilight. So, what do you currently collect? Is there still certain lines that you hone in on that you collect now?
Well, I did for a long time collect just about everything. I mean, if you've ever get a chance to walk through my nerd closet, you'll see anything from, oh man, I'm just gazing at my stuff right now. I mean, I've got Art the Clown, I got some old Austin Powers figures, I've got wrestling figures, G.I. Joes, I've got Star Wars figures, Star Wars helmets. I've got Hot Toys figures, which are big boys.
Yeah.
They're big boy toys.
Sure.
And they are something special. And I have maybe a dozen of them. And it's hard to compete with them. And I've got a lot of NECA stuff, a lot of Back to the Future.
Yep.
Man, there's some of the new Origins, Masters Universe in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's some Super 7 stuff. Transformers. I'm not kidding you. I got a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the way things are. Right. Again, I'm not a anymore. I'm not a completist for any line at this stage of the game. I more collect whatever it might be. I try to hone in on characters I like, specific guys. You mentioned Art the Clown. I'm a big Art the Clown guy. I try to buy as much as I can, or everything I can. Art the Clown. Love the Terrifier stuff. But even as far as like wrestling, I love wrestling, right? But I try to hone in because it's like you only have so many funds, you only have so much space.
Well, that's the thing. Even
and
if
it's
you
hard to
hone
keep
into-
up on.
even if you hone in on one character, you have a hard time keeping up.
It is, yeah.
Because,
And-
like, I used to collect a lot of Ric Flair and a lot of Ultimate Warrior stuff,
Oh, yeah,
and I couldn't even keep up.
Yeah,
Couldn't even keep up with those two guys.
that's right.
And then, of
Yeah.
course, you throw in, my LOD collection. I mean,
Yep.
even that sometimes is tough to keep up with. I mean, it's easier now that I'm making them, but yeah, just like, Sarge is a good friend of mine, and I like to support him and collect, what he's got coming out.
Yeah.
And even that's a chore. I mean,
It
between
is.
G.I. Joe, wrestling, Funkos, he's got a ton of stuff coming out, not to mention, a new figure coming out from me. So,
Yep. Yeah, it is. I used to be, kind of a demolition completist, right? I try to get everything I can demolition. It wasn't really that difficult there for a while, but then all of a sudden it's like, bam, there's like knuckleheads, there's big rubber guys, there's you have there's so many, and it's like, oh, it's hard to stay up on it. And
I applaud the guys that are able to get everything. Like, I talked to like Kyle Peterson and Fig Heel, Mike Boss, and those guys are dedicated. I mean, they are dedicated. Their collections are unbelievable.
Yeah.
And if I was them, I would sit in my collection half the day just looking at it.
Me too. Yeah. Yeah, I had to will it back long ago. I just didn't have for my own sanity. It's like I had to pick and choose a little bit. And I'm more my stuff I'm driven by nostalgia, right? What makes me feel warm and fuzzy typically from my childhood. But again, it's still hard, right? Again, I love Demolition. It's hard to keep up. I love Bobby Heenan, which was always kind of an easy collect for a while. And then again, there was a little bit of an explosion there all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's hard to keep up. And that's not always a bad thing, right? It is nice. There could be worse problems to have.
Yeah. It kind of keeps collectors kind of in check, but ultimately you find a line that you love, which, like the Masters of the Universe stuff.
Yeah.
I still have all my original figures from when I was a kid.
Yep.
And then when the Origin stuff, let's even back up farther. Even when the classics started coming out,
Yep.
I was like, man, those are impressive.
Yes.
And I had a few of them. I still got, the main characters, but you fall in love with it all over again whenever there's a different spin or different version of what you loved as a kid. And now it's been adult sized, and you're like, it's hard. It's hard to tell. It's hard to say no.
Yeah. And it gets because I was, again, when Origins, I was a huge Origins, right? And I was a completist with Origins for a long while. And then I got so frustrated because it was so hard to find, certain figures. Yeah. And because it's a different market, right? It's not like you can just walk into your local store and there's pegs full of figures that you can thumb through usually.
You mean like when we were kids?
Right. Like we were kids. And I miss that feeling, right? Of walking in, I was a big G.I. Joe guy when I was a kid. I love that walking in and looking at it, saying, "Holy shit! There's that figure. I didn't even know that was coming."
There's a whole wall of them.
Yeah,
6, 7 deep.
Yeah, and it's just that feeling of getting blown away because you don't even know. It's there, and you're and now it's it's coming. You have to pre-order it, and I know that's the nature of the business, but it does take a little bit of that mystique of collecting away, at least for me, and the way I love and remember. And it's almost like, you pre-order it, and I won't mention names. Anybody that is listening to this who is knowledgeable of the modern toy market, right? There is problems with at least one company where you pre-order, and who knows if they'll see your product.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, of course, everybody does. And so it's there are frustrations, but then it's also a very competitive market right now because there are lots of independent figure companies. And you're all battling for expendable income.
I don't know that I'm battling, and this is not my ego talking, but from day one, when I started Mat Maniacs with Fraser Davidson, I was like, look, I do not want to be another Hasbro.
Correct. Yeah.
I was like, that market is already saturated. and more power to those guys.
Yes.
I enjoy looking at all their creations and releases. It's a good thing that, these small companies can compete and make great figures alongside Hasbro and Mattel and NECA. But when I started the company and Mat Maniacs, I said, look, if we're not going to do something different, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, there's already 6 or 7 Hasbro-esque companies out there.
Yeah.
And like I said, good on them. I hope they're all successful. But it wasn't who I wanted to be. I wanted to be the next, or no, let me rephrase that. I wanted to be the first Mat Maniacs, not the 7th Hasbro. And that's not a knock on the guys that are making those Hasbro figures.
No.
It's just where I wanted to be. I didn't want to be like everybody else. I wanted to put a product out there that paid a little bit of homage to Hasbro because, obviously ours are the same scale.
Yep.
They are wrestlers.
Yep.
I think that our style is very unique.
Definitely.
I definitely did not want to be one of those Hasbro card kind of guys. I wanted to be something a little bit more special, a little bit more premium, maybe, if you want to call it that, and put them in 2-packs. And granted, we're going to do some singles. We've already got some singles lined up.
Yeah.
But the 2-pack made sense because of the talent that we had on board for our figures. So that's what we led with the first 2 series. And, it spilled over into series 3, but we're also expanding into singles as well.
Yeah.
Like we got Danhausen coming out as a single, and there'll be others that follow. We just did the 2-packs because it made sense because they were tag teams.
Sure.
And the 2-pack is nice also because you can pay homage to some of these guys' either tag teams, grudge matches, their legacies because they had 2 different looks, that kind of stuff. So, like I said, I've had everybody on the back that's in the toy making business, especially nowadays, because they are putting out some really great stuff that you'll probably never see from the bigger companies. And they're doing a really good job at it. And like I said, more power to them. I hope they're all successful.
Yeah.
There is a bunch of them. But like I said, when we started it, I did not want to be the next Hasbro. I wanted to be the first Mat Maniacs. And I wanted kids and adults from this generation to be able to look back 30 years from now and say, hey, man, those Mat Maniacs figures were awesome. I love those as a kid. That's what I want. I want that nostalgia in place with our product moving forward. So that's where I want to be. I think we're doing a pretty good job moving forward with that idea. And I hope we grow enough in the future to do away with the pre-order scenario of things, because I know it's frustrating for people to pay for stuff and they have to wait, but I don't have the pocketbook that Hasbro and Mattel have, where they can just cut a check and say, hey, I want 50,000 units, send them.
Yep.
So, and to be a small company and things are made to order, the pre-order or GoFundMe or whatever it is, Kickstarter that you have to do to make a dream come true, all you can do is hope that the collectors out there support you and understand that, these figures take time to make, and there's a lot involved. They can cause things to slow down. I mean, just a small tweak here and there with the factory can cost you a month sometimes. It's just it's aggravating because I'm a collector myself, and I want my stuff yesterday too.
Yeah.
But I'm also a patient man to where I understand what, a lot of these indie companies are going through, trying to make a name for themselves and trying to get their product done as fast as possible. But honestly, if you're in a hurry, and I'm just speaking for my own product, if I'm in a hurry, you're going to be able to tell it.
Yeah, you're going to lose some quality, right?
Yeah, you're going to be able to tell by looking at my stuff like, oh man, they blew through this quick
Mm-hmm.
so the customer could get it faster. Well, it's not a game I like to play. I want things to be right. I want them to be perfect because I'm kind of meticulous when it comes to my toys. I want them to be universally great
Mm-hmm.
across the board. I don't want some of them to be great. I don't want some of them to be okay. I want them all to be okay. I want them all to be great. And if that means taking, a little extra time to make sure the QC is there, just because the factory sends me stuff doesn't mean I feel that it's good enough to go to my customers.
Yeah, and it's kind of like what I was speaking of earlier. The Hasbro figure, I was a completist with Hasbro when they first, with like WWE first started producing them. I was all on board. I was loving it because I love the Hasbro figures. And then again, so many people jumped in that fire. At some point, I just had to tap out. I'm like, I can't keep up, right? I can't. There's just too much. I don't even know what's what anymore. Everything was kind of blurring for me because they were all, I'm not saying any of the figures, they all look great per se, for overall, but I was having trouble remembering who's doing what and which company's producing what. It was just, it got very confusing in the marketplace because everything did look the same.
Mm-hmm.
And then, at one point in time, I'm scrolling through Instagram and I see some of the early Mat Maniacs, some of the early posts you were making. And I thought, well, wait a minute, this is different because one of the great things about the Hasbro figure is, right, they kind of carried that spirit of LJN where they took the wrestler and kept that fun, almost cartoony, that bigger than life character in that figure. And I understand that, the other Hasbro retro figure companies, they're doing that, but they're trying to do it like Hasbro. And whatever, I get that. But I really feel like the Mat Maniacs has that spirit more because you're taking these wrestlers, these bigger than life characters, and your figures are kind of, I don't mean this directly, but kind of a cartoony, a video game, a very animated, look.
We always used to describe them as, what if Pixar had grabbed a hold of these wrestling characters and made cartoons out of them? It's kind of a Pixar / rock and wrestling, like Hogan's cartoon type of thing. And like I said, more power to the guys out there trying to make them as articulate and realistic as possible. More power to them. I think they look great.
They do, yeah.
But not what we want to do. Not what we are currently doing. I think, when we started, I was like, a lot of our customer base is going to be adults, a lot of adult collectors out there. But to be honest, what puts a smile on my face the most is when there's a kid that's maybe 10 years or less, and he grabs a hold of those figures and he's just like, wow.
Yeah.
It's like what I felt when I first saw He-Man and Skeletor and all those guys. And
yeah,
I just think it relates on both sides of the spectrum. I think the kids appreciate the larger than life cartoonish characters.
Yes.
And then the adults appreciate the same thing, but a different level.
Right.
And we try to add some little extras here and there, that might appease the adult crowd. But like I said, we weren't trying to be completely 100% accurate with our figures. We were trying to give you a generalization, kind of like what, not to bring it up, but like Hasbro did. They were just trying to give us a generalization, cartoony feel of the current wrestlers at the time.
Right. Because with LJNs, with Hasbro, with virtually all these lines, they're not like they're reproducing super lifelike figures. They're giving you the gist of the character. You know who it is. And even with your lines, as unique as they are, right? You look at it, that's Rick and Scott Steiner. That's Hawking. You can't, there's no denying that. They're not, it's not like they're unrecognizable. You know who they are. But you capture that character, that bigger than life, that fantasy side of wrestling that really should have hooked all of us, and what it was. And like you said, right, I think it does work across the board. You get the adults who are the collectors that say, oh, this is unique, this is different, this looks cool. I like the Steiners, I like LOD, I like Demolition, I like the Power, whoever it is, and they want those figures because they're unique and they stand out. And then it could hook a kid who has no idea who they are. They may not know who they are, but they just may look at them and they know, hey, this is some kind of bigger than life superhero special guy.
Big, giant, jacked superhero with a mustache.
That's right. Yeah, and they are inspired to play with them in whatever way they will, because they know this is something. Even if they don't know who, that's all right. They'll fill in those holes, and
eventually they'll find out who.
Yeah, that's right. And it's like you said though, it is cool because while you're right, you are lumped in with these retro figures, and I don't think that's
which
correct,
is
right?
fine. That's fine. I mean, they're the same size. They're the same content. They're wrestlers. They're 4-inch. I get it.
Yeah.
It's just our presentation and designs are different.
Definitely. And it always harkens back with me. I always remember as a kid, like we mentioned the Remcos and He-Man, I would have, I had some of the Remco AWA figures, and I always remember taking He-Man, taking off his vest, and always thinking, hey, this is Lex Luger. I would pretend he was Lex Luger, right? And I would do that with all kinds of things, right? I would integrate other figures that I could into these wrestling scenarios or whatever it may be, because they worked, right? They were the right size or whatever, or they were similar. And that's kind of what I think with you, right? It's a unique brand, a unique look, but it does work with the Remcos if you want to pose them with them, or if if it has that playability with them if you want, because they are the same scale. But it is very different. So
I almost feel it would be cool to go back in time to walk into Hasbro with a set of the figures that we're making now.
Oh, yeah,
and lay them on the desk and just see what the look on their faces would be, because ultimately I think they did what they could, because I mean we're talking pre-scan days where everything had to be hand sculpted. Of course, Ron Rudat was involved with a lot of the design work with all those.
Sure.
And it had to be a challenge.
Oh yeah,
and,
definitely.
A lot of the Hasbros don't even look like the wrestlers, but they did the best they could.
Yeah.
And they reused their parts where they could. And sometimes it didn't often make sense.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, but I mean, let's be honest, the Rick Rude was probably one of the worst figures.
Yep. In retrospect.
Flair was right there too.
Yeah.
Other than his overall outfit, I guess, or gear.
Yeah.
It really was a Ric Flair, but
yeah.
But there were some great ones too. The Andre was great. The Macho was great. The Hogans were great.
Yeah.
The Bret Hart was pretty good. So, you know, there was a lot of swing and miss. There was a lot of home runs, but ultimately I think they broke that barrier for sure and got away from, you know, like the Galoobs and the LJNs where they're just solid figures.
Yep.
And tried to do something different with the mechanics.
Yep. And even
I think
I'm sorry, and even on the misses though, because of these wrestlers with such characters, you still knew who they were, right?
Yeah.
Whether it be the tights or it's still recognizable enough, even though it was, you know, unique and different. And, you know, as a kid, you might like, it's not the greatest, but okay, I got a Ric Flair. That's pretty cool. And so
I have to say though, with the way technology is today, and all this 3D artists and being able to print essentially toys in your own basement, which I do.
Yep.
Never dreamed as a kid that any of those tools would be available as an adult.
Definitely. Yeah.
Because, you know, most people look at toy making as something that's way out of reach. And it is for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to get your ducks in a row to be able to consistently say you're a toy maker, because there's a lot of moving parts, no pun intended, but there's a lot to it other than just saying, hey, I want to make a toy.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have the right people, the right designers, the right backing. You have to have some kind of connection overseas where they're going to be made.
Yep.
So all those, attributes are available to most people, but sometimes it's hard to find the right lineup.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think with what Frazier is doing, and he's been doing for a long time, and if you go back and look at some of his older stuff, it's definitely evolved into something great with Mat Maniacs. I mean, he was talented before I even met him. I mean, I used to watch his stuff, his creations on Instagram for the longest time.
Yeah.
And couldn't figure out why that he'd never made anything commercially, but even as we first spoke and started getting a plan together, you could tell that when he started really taking a step back and looking at the designs, that he really wanted to make them better than what they were.
Yeah.
And I think the base that we have for the figures that we're making, I think he nailed it. I think he hit it out of the park 100%, because it just, to me, when I look at them, and like I said, I'm being biased because they're mine, but when I look at them, and I'm in awe, because it just brings me back to when I was a kid, and what made Masters of the Universe so instrumental in my childhood. It's the same feeling I get when I look at these, because they just scream larger than life, and they feel like they're going to jump right off the table and clothesline you.
That's right. Yeah. And you mentioned, right, the team, and as you're getting this together, right, and you're talking with him, and things are falling into place, and you're getting all your components. You hear this all the time, right? I'm sure you get this on social media. 500 people saying, "Oh, make this guy, make that guy. Why don't you make this guy?"
Right.
That's complicated, right? You have to. There's a process, and you don't have to get into the minutia of it. But what is that like to get a talent on board to make an action figure?
Well, let's be honest. I mean, not every guy, not every talent, male or female, not all of them are going to sell.
That's right.
The hopes are there,
yeah,
for them to sell. But I mean, it's just like anything else. I mean, it's no different than t-shirt sales. I mean, some are going to sell, some are not going to sell.
Right.
So there has to be, for me, a demand somewhat.
Right.
If I know that I can cover, the minimum order, which that plays into that's a factor as well when it comes to, who we're going to make. And that's no knock on any of these guys that maybe didn't have a Stone Cold Steve Austin career.
Sure.
Everybody deserves an action figure.
Yeah.
But a lot of times the talent and people don't understand how much it actually costs.
Yes.
To put something like that in production. It's not cheap. It's not just, we're going to make Bastion Booger tomorrow. And that's no knock on Bastion Booger. I'm just trying to think of a lesser known gimmick.
Sure.
And no matter who it is, it costs X amount of dollars in design costs, mold costs, shipping, royalties, you name it. It all adds up really, really quick.
That's right. And it doesn't change based on if it's a Bastion Booger or if it's Steve Austin. The cost is the same.
It is the same. Now, granted, the royalties and the upfront money or whatever deal that you make with these guys can fluctuate.
Yeah, but the physical production cost of what you have to pay,
they don't care
to produce them. It doesn't matter. They don't care who it is.
You see a lot of the companies out there that say 1 of 500. Well, usually 500 is a minimum.
Yeah.
When you're making toys, it's usually the factories in China are not going to budge for anything less than 500.
Yeah.
So if the demand's not there and you can't sell at least something close to that, you have to just kind of pick and choose. You gotta make business decisions based on whether it's a good idea or not. Now we all know that a lot of these indie companies, and myself included, we try to reuse parts as much as we can where it makes sense.
Sure.
And that can, ultimately shave some of your cost down. I'm not saying it takes care of all of it. I'm just saying it makes it not quite as expensive. The shipping is what kills me.
Of course.
You have more in shipping from China and to the customers. Now, granted, customers most of the time cover their own shipping, but
yeah,
as far as shipping materials and getting them overseas and bringing them in, and you got tariffs and custom fees and all that stuff. That's why the pricing is as high as it is, because, with Mattel and Hasbro and NECA and those bigger companies, they have their own factories.
Yep. Right.
That has their name on them, and they're paying the bills.
Yep.
And they're selling thousands and thousands of units.
Yeah.
Where, the smaller guys like me and some of the other ones out there, we're in the hundreds, maybe thousands. I mean, it just depends on who you're making. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I'm not saying that I'm picky about who I sign, but I really want it to make sense, especially for the line that I'm doing. I just don't want to just randomly, here's this guy and here's this guy.
Yeah.
And put them in the same box, and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially when you're starting out like I am, with the new company, the new line, you really have to have that base of loyal customers and following to really go after some of the lesser known gimmicks. I think as a small company, we had to lead with some heavy hitters.
Yeah, you got to make an impact, right?
Yeah, you gotta set a foundation for yourself, and I'm sure a lot of these indie companies out there have done that from the beginning,
Right.
And now they're transitioning into some of the smaller gimmicks. But ultimately, you have to have that customer base to stay alive, because if you don't have support from your people and your patrons, then they're ultimately controlling whether you're going to be making new figures or not, because if they're not interested anymore, you're pretty much done.
Yeah. I mean, let's admit it, right? As a collector, as a fan, it's always cool. Everybody wants to see everybody made as an action figure. It's cool to see this really unique, obscure, unknown, little known wrestler as an action figure. And it's easy to look at that and say, oh, that's cool. That's awesome. But you're looking at it for the business aspect, right?
Right.
While it might be cool, it's not cool enough to lose money over.
It has
cool
to
enough.
make sense. Yeah, it has to make sense.
Yeah.
And there's been some, that I necessarily probably wouldn't make, especially where I'm at now. I mean, maybe down the road, I start looking at more some of these smaller gimmicks, maybe less popular guys.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like I said, I'm just trying to establish our brand, our following, and make sure the numbers are there, because let's be honest, I don't want to make a figure of one of those guys if it's not going to be successful, because that looks bad on me.
Sure. Right.
I don't want to say, hey, Bash and Booger, I want to make this figure of you, and then it flop. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
I would rather wait a year and put him out. And like I said, that's no knock on Bash and Booger. It's just, I'm just trying to relate where it makes sense to make some of these smaller guys.
Yeah.
Actually.
Right.
I just think that I want all of them to be successful. The big ones, the small ones, the mediums. I want them all to be successful. Even the ladies. I want the ladies to have figures, because let's be honest, a lot of the retro style figures don't really cater to the female form.
Yeah, correct.
Which there is a lot of potential there, because there's a lot of great ladies in the business, past and present, that deserve to have figures, that may have not had figures for 20 years, since their prime.
Definitely. I have a couple of females that I think, in my mind, it's like, as a fan, I wish you could produce as Mat Maniacs that I would love to see. Again, I know from your side, who knows, but yeah, so there, you have those dream figures that I would love to see, like anybody else, because I think they would fit your style. But one thing with your style that also fits and is also came in handy, right, is that your style, this approach to your figures and the portrayal of these wrestlers is really fits, and you're now venturing into the video game world.
This is correct.
Yeah, so tell us about that.
Well, so it's been a little while. It's been earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
I remember talking to Frazier, and he said, "Yeah, I'm a little busy." I said, "Well, what are you working on?" He says, "Well, I'm kind of helping out because he has his own animation studio over in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Cub Studio, and he does a lot of work outside of the wrestling thing.
Sure.
The wrestling thing is his passion, but he has to pay the bills. So
That's right.
he does animations for all kinds of different companies. So he said that at the time, and I don't remember the exact date. I just remember he said that he was working on a video game, and I'm like, cool. Well, we didn't really go into specifics about it. And then I can't even remember how I stumbled across it. The game's called Micro Titans Wrestling.
Right. Yep.
And when I finally stumbled across it, I seen the logo first. I'm like, I wonder what it's going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started putting two and two together. I'm like, wait a minute, that's probably the game that Frazier's been working on. So as I kind of dug in a little bit farther, sure enough, it was.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I got to see all the characters that, that they were going to use in the game, and it's Frazier 1000%.
Yeah.
It's his work, and I'm like, dude, these things fit in our world.
Yeah.
100%. Which is great. It's a great thing. So before they could even reach out to me, I was on the horn with them. And I'm like, okay, let's be honest. I said, this is a match made in heaven. I said, your game, our figures, it's Frazier's designs 1000%. It would be silly not to be partners.
Yeah.
In the upcoming game. And they were like, yeah, that's pretty funny because we were getting ready to reach out to you because we didn't want you to get upset whenever you saw some of the renders. And I'm like, why would I be upset? I said, I see it as a business opportunity. I said, I see cross promotion. I see all kinds of positives. I said, I didn't see any negatives about it whatsoever. I said, I'm excited for it, to be honest. I said, it's going to be great. And it's not for everybody. I mean, it's not, let's be honest. It's not a WWE 2K game. It's a card-based type of game where you're, building up your character, kind of like I guess you could call it a little bit like Pokemon.
Yeah, yeah.
And they based the mechanics off of a game from last year, I believe, that was Game of the Year, but it was a different theme type of thing. I can't remember the name of the game. It's pretty bad. But I was like, I said, are you guys planning on having licensed characters in the game? And they were like, absolutely. And they had already had a few signed. And I was like, well, I already got figures of that guy, that guy. And so we started talking and we started hashing things out. And I was like, I said, if we don't make this happen, I said, that doesn't make any sense. I said, we need to make this happen. We need to become partners in this and try to feed off of each other's success. And basically when you see Micro Titans Wrestling, you see Mat Maniacs and vice versa. So
yeah,
it's been a pleasure so far working with these guys, and I wish them nothing but success with the video game. Basically, I'm leaving that up to them, and I'm the toy guy. So
sure,
they take care of the game and the characters that are in the game, and I'll take care of the figures that you can buy after the fact. So
yeah.
I'm excited. It's a really great business opportunity, and Frazier's designs, let's be honest, they already feel like they're in a video game. So
Sure.
the fact that it's actually happening, it's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. It creates a lot of buzz for both the brands and everything else. And obviously that's right for you guys, independent companies, smaller companies. That's a great tool, right? Is the word of mouth, the buzz, social media posts, podcast mentions, unboxing videos, all that is it's like free marketing, right? It's, you don't have the marketing budget that some of these bigger companies have and opportunities. So anybody that mentions that plugs, that gives out a positive about your company, it's good for you.
It's crucial.
Yeah.
It's crucial. Let's be
Right.
honest. If you're not growing, you're dying. So
Yeah.
it's crucial.
Yeah. So how much do you lean into that? When there's, you obviously can't put a, commercial on Monday Night Raw or whatever, or a Super Bowl commercial. So you have to go through these unique avenues.
I don't have that kind of money.
No. So how much do you have to lean into? You mentioned that fan base, building that fan base. How much do you guys have to lean into that and that positive feedback and promotion that they give you free of charge?
It's definitely you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours type of situation. We're definitely going to be feeding off of each other's characters, especially in the game.
Yeah.
They just announced, of course, Demolition,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll be able to either play with Demolition in the physical world and with our action figures, or you'll be able to play with them in the video game world.
Sure.
So ultimately, if we play our cards right, that's going to be something that happens with every character.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I know they've got plans of signing a lot more than Demolition.
Sure.
So it's only going to grow from there. And then, there's going to be people that are fans of the game that they're going to be playing this thing and be, man, I wish I could have these in toy form. Well, guess what? You can.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about the licensed characters. We've already discussed even the created characters specifically for the game.
Sure.
There's no reason why we can't let them tiptoe out into the real world.
Sure. Yeah.
In Mat Maniacs form. So
yeah,
honestly, sky's the limit for what we can do. But there's always that. You have to have that base. You have to have that following. You have to have those loyal customers coming back to support you every time you're doing something new.
Yeah.
And to be honest, without the support of, our customers and our fans of the line, we couldn't have gotten this far. So, just a little plug to them. Thank you to anybody that has supported the Nerd Closet, Mat Maniacs, Golden Era of Wrestling, and Micro Titans Wrestling, which is on the wish list on Steam right now.
Yeah.
All I can do is give you guys a huge thank you, because, like I said, without the wrestling community and the video game community and the toy community, you can't be an independent toy maker without you guys. So again, my heartfelt thanks to all that have purchased, all who plan to purchase, and all who support us in our journey to be something different.
Yeah, and that is one way you can thank those people, right? As we've talked about, as you've mentioned, producing a quality product, producing a unique product, producing something that maybe they can't get anywhere else, right? You do keep a certain amount of the fan in mind when producing these things, right? And so far we've talked, you've done primarily 2-packs, the tag team sets, but you have said, right, there's going to be some singles out in the future and different things like that.
Definitely.
What's next then for Mat Maniacs? Is there other concept ideas? You got the game and some of these created characters. Do you have a wish list of things that you would like to achieve and you would like to do down the road if everything continues to be successful for you?
I mean, a lot of the wish list has been checked off so far.
Okay.
Now, as far as like some of the different guys,
do you have a talent wish list then?
Yeah, I mean, there's always, you always want those big names,
Sure.
especially the ones that you were, excited to watch on TV growing up. And there's some of them that are, let's be honest, they're untouchable.
Yep. Right.
I mean, The Rock, Stone Cold, a lot of these guys, Undertaker, they're all locked in with the WWE because those are WWE's moneymakers, and I get that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Never say never, though.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, anybody can come knocking tomorrow and say, hey, we love what you're doing. Let's work together on something that promotes your brand and ours. And that could be anybody. That could be TNA. That could be AEW. That could be any of the wrestling companies. That could be movie companies.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I am not limiting our success on just the wrestling community. Now, I'm not saying I have anything in place. It's been discussed a few times.
Sure.
But I'd always like to see Frazier's style spill into TV and movies.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Because I think it fits no matter what we want to do.
Definitely. Yeah.
I mean, just hypothetically, I mean, I could see Frazier designing a Batman or a Superman or, a Marvel character.
Yep.
Or an Art the Clown in his style. I mean, never say never. Beetlejuice.
Sure. Yeah.
It's all about licensing. And that's the name of the game when it comes to, making toys. You can't just wake up one morning and decide, okay, I'm going to make a Beetlejuice figure.
Yeah.
I
right.
I wish it was that easy.
Sure.
And when you get into the movie companies, it can get tricky.
Sure. There's a lot more layers involved.
I applaud the major pod guys doing the big rubber.
Yeah.
Jean-Claude and, Stallone and some of these other ones.
Yep.
It's tough because you don't know who owns what.
Yep. Yep.
The movie may be made by this company. The
Yes.
characters might be owned by this company. I mean, they may be owned by the talent. You just don't know. It's a very slippery slope when it comes to signing different brands and people and stuff. So,
but not an impossible slope.
Yeah, it's not impossible, but it can be definitely difficult.
Sure.
A lot more difficult than wrestling. So I applaud I applaud the toy companies that are able to venture out into the movie and TV type of characters.
Yeah.
And that's something I would love to do someday because, I've worked with some people in the movie and TV industry with a local convention that I have coming up this coming weekend. It's Marietta Monster Mash in my hometown.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we bring in, horror movie celebrities, wrestlers, you name it. We try to bring in a little bit of everything to the show. And those are also doors that have been opened to other possibilities.
Yeah, and the horror genre is very, very similar to the wrestling genre in the
it is. It's almost
rabid
like
fan base.
Yeah, it's almost like they're linked.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of overlap. Yeah.
Yeah, there is. There is a lot of overlap with horror and wrestling.
Sure.
And I think it's just the land of make believe, to be honest.
Right.
It's all these larger than life characters,
That's
whether
right.
they're in the ring or they're on the movie screen. So
that's right. Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent out there that aren't necessarily at our fingertips, but never say never.
Yeah, and the talent negotiation, that must be just a constant for you.
It is.
As you're going. Give me an idea, just out of curiosity. What is the general time from signing a talent when you got pen to paper to having a figure in customer's hand? What's that time period?
Oh man. Yeah, that could vary.
Okay, well, how about we narrow it down a little bit just to signing a talent to beginning production? Taking out shipping stuff, right? Just the planning as we're to that point, ready to produce.
Sometimes it'll take months to get somebody signed that's interested.
Yeah.
because, they have lives to live. I have lives to live.
Yeah.
I work full time. This is not my full time job. If anybody's listening out there, Rocky does not make toys full time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am a one-man wrecking crew with a lot of good support people around me, but I
Yes.
am owner, operator, shipper, negotiator. The only thing I don't do really is the design work, which is Fraser's area, but
And make the toy, right? Make the toy.
yeah, dealing with the talent, dealing with the factory, dealing with the shipping companies, dealing with the post office, dropping stuff off and dealing with making sure I have shipping, all
Yeah.
that's on me. It's just
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, and sometimes
I
it's a lot of hurry up and wait, right? It's the same way with scheduling interviews with talent, right? Sometimes you reach out and then you just, who knows how long it'll take, right? You maybe months, and finally they'll get back and say, "Oh yeah, I can do that," and you almost forgot
I've
you reached out.
had to go in reverse too. I've had figures ready to be made before contracts were signed.
Wow.
Because Fraser doesn't wait for nobody.
That's right.
I'm telling you, he is an animal. I mean, he cranks out stuff while I'm sleeping. And if I even mention a character that we're talking to, or a wrestler that we're talking to,
He gets
a lot
it
of
primed and
times,
ready.
oh man, a lot of times usually that week he's got something to show me. And that's the beauty of
That's a great
pitching.
thing.
It is. It makes my job easier when I'm pitching toys to these wrestlers when I already have what the figure is going to look like right in front of them.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Do you ever? Yeah, how often do you take that concept and
all the time?
Yeah, I mean that sometimes can seal the deal, right? If they can see.
Oh yeah, it's an easy close for a wrestler, for a talent, if you've got the renders and the packaging staring at them in the face.
Right. Yeah. And we didn't even
there is no gray area. This is what it's going to look like.
Yeah, and I'm getting ready to close, but we didn't even speak on the packaging, right? You mentioned that right, your figures don't have that. Again, not knocking, I'm not saying this is a negative, but you don't have that standard Hasbro retro packaging. You have these really cool 2-pack boxes that it's almost like you get them and you see them and you're like, "Oh, I want
I open it?
Yeah, I want the figures out, but look at that packaging." And it's beautiful.
The beautiful thing about our packaging is it checks all the boxes for a loose collector and a mint in box collector.
Yeah.
You can easily open the box from the bottom, top, whatever you want to do. Take the figures out. Take a look at them, play with them, whatever you want to do, display them.
Yep.
And then slide them right back into their packaging.
Yep.
With no worries of damage.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing on there that you can damage.
Sure.
I mean, we got a seal sticker on the top and the bottom. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lights are open. You can take them out, enjoy them. When you're done, you can put them right back in the clamshell, into the box, and back on the shelf anytime you want. That's another reason why I wanted it to be different.
Sure. Yeah.
Because there's going to be, and I'm one of them. I like taking stuff out of the box.
Me too.
But I also don't like trash in the box either.
Me too. I'm a loose toy guy. I like them out. I want them displayed. I want to see them. I want to be able to pick it up if I want to pick it up. I want to be able to, whatever, if I want to be goofy and pose and take pictures or whatever it might be. I want to be able to do that. But I appreciate
that's the collector in me trying to see it from both sides.
Yeah.
There's mint guys in the box. There's loose guys. Does this mesh together and make more people happy when they see it? And I think we've knocked it out of the park when it comes to our packaging. I think
definitely.
And I think it definitely all the boxes are checked. It's just
sure.
It worked out perfectly. I mean, I had a vision of the 2-packs, and I me and Fraser came together on it. And I'm like, look, I said, I don't, because, it was discussed at the beginning that we were going to do cards just like everybody else. And I'm just like, nope, no.
Yeah.
Nope.
Right.
No cards. One, there's a lot of issues that comes with a card.
Mm-hmm.
The bubble's not staying on. We all know how all the horror stories we've heard from some of the other stuff that's come out.
Yep.
Dented bubbles, yellowing bubbles,
bent corners,
cards. the cards getting trashed and shipping.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just like, not happening. I don't want to do
Yeah.
cards. I don't want to do it. I'm
Yep.
not saying there's anything wrong with them. They're just not for me. Also, when we started, again, the whole time that I'm and this includes Frazier as well, when we're putting stuff together, we're collectors. We're keeping all collectors in mind when we're doing anything.
Yeah.
And then, you know, now granted, I know some of these indie companies, they sell the protective cases.
Sure.
I wanted to do something special for my customers that believed in our brand by protecting their investment.
Sure.
I wanted to spend that little bit of extra money to make sure their collectibles are protected to and from China and to and from me to them. So it was a no-brainer for me to include those protective cases to ultimately protect the product from everything that's going to happen to it on the way from China to somebody's house.
Yeah, and it's still very cool, right? It still has the window where you can still see the figures if you're a mitten boxing. And it harkens back, me as a toy guy from the 80s. It harkens back to those days when, you know, it's like, oh yeah, we opened everything to play with, but still I would cut parts of boxes. I would keep my cards for G.I. Joe because the beautiful picture on the front.
Oh yeah.
I would cut the artwork off the Masters of the Universe stuff because it was gorgeous. It was these gorgeous pieces of art. And so there were, you know, even as a kid playing with them, I still had that appreciation for that little extra, right? Those cool paintings on the boxes and stuff. And you've taken kind of that same feeling, put it into the current with me as an adult, where it's unique, it's different. Again, I'm a loose guy, but still, I get it. I can look at it and still see it before I even open it. And
honestly, I think the box design is just as great as the design on the figures.
Yeah, it is. It is great, and it's, again, like, you know, it sets you apart. It is unique. It is different. Again, I don't want anybody to think I'm ever speaking badly of any of these other companies, because I'm not at all. But
No.
it's something to set you apart, which to me is a great approach. It makes you different. And it, you know, and it just shows, I don't know, to me, a little more thought, a little more planning. I don't, you know, I think it's a great thing. I mean, again, I love this line. Everything I've seen so far, it's great. I love that, you know, the talent you've had, the renderings, the figures that you've produced. I'm excited to see what you guys have coming in the future. Again, there's a lot of great figures out there, a lot of great lines, but we've talked, right? There's things that set yours apart to me that where I have kind of checked out on a little bit because I was overwhelmed. I couldn't keep up. I was lost in the shuffle. It was like, it's too much, whatever. I can't keep up with all this. And then you guys kind of gave me something to focus on because it was different. It was unique. I didn't have to, if I saw a picture out of context of your figures, I knew that's Mat Maniacs, right? I knew who that was.
Yeah.
Some of the other figures, while they might be great figures, I sometimes didn't know which company was producing that, who had that rights. And
Right.
I don't mean that bad because they were great figures, but everybody was doing kind of the same type thing, and it was confusing to me and hard to keep up on. So I really think you've done a great job of
I appreciate that.
of taking this concept, meshing in some of that spirit of toy collecting and uniqueness, giving us something that, yeah, you get lumped in because it works with the retros. It still works because they're the same scale, they're the same, right? You can take the retro if you're a play guy, and heck, you could take a Hasbro, you can take a new retro, you can play with them with the Mat Maniacs, and it works. But it's as a collector, it's different, it's unique. So let's close this out. And of course, probably the most important thing you're going to tell me and the listeners, where can fans, what's the best way for them to follow? Let's start with first to keep track of announcements, of talents, of figures, of things happening, and what's the best route for them to order the figures?
Okay, so I pride myself into keeping the transparency up with my customers. I want them to be informed. I try my best. Of course, you know, a lot of things get slipped through the cracks sometimes.
Sure.
But it's just it's basically a thermometer on our website homepage.
Okay.
that shows the progress of the current figures that we're making.
Okay, good.
Anybody and everybody can go to our homepage and see that progress meter. If it doesn't move, that means we're still in that phase.
Right.
And then, like, we're getting ready to start shipping Wave 2 from the factory. So once that happens, I'll update the thermometer on there to what's going on, that, they're on their way here.
And just so everybody know, who's in the Wave 2?
Wave 2 is major players.
Okay.
The Hardy Boys.
Oh, yep.
Powers of Pain.
Okay.
And Demolition. Demolition was our WrestleCade exclusive. We wanted to make sure everybody had a chance to get them, so we kind of put them up on their page. So, I get it. It's not a true exclusive where you can only get them at the show, but let's be honest. I didn't want to play that game. I didn't want people to miss out on them that couldn't be at the show.
Yeah.
So it was more or less like a WrestleCade sponsored tag team.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What a great mixture of eras there with that roster of talent for.
Oh, I know. It's a little bit of everything, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great, right? I mean, you got the major players, big players, right, in both indie wrestling and the toy game. The Hardys still out there, still prominent, but for a few decades now. And then, of course,
some
the Powers
era guys.
That's right. And the Powers of Pain and Demolition, for those of us like that really like the retro, back in that day. So, but again, it's still. I mean, I like the Hardys, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm not like I'm a huge fan, but they do fit your line great. They look great, and I've never bought a Hardy Boys figure. I'm just not. But I look at those, I'm like, ooh, that's pretty cool looking though.
As cartoony as they are, they still look just like
it does. It fits. So what a great mixture.
And then we also, at the end of the Wave 2 lineup, we decided to go ahead and throw in the black padded Road Warriors.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
So those are being made as we speak with Wave 2. And production's just about done, to be honest. I mean, we've been telling everybody, we started out tentatively, we were like October, November, but of course, there's always going to be things that you don't foresee. There's always going to be something that might slow you down a little bit.
Sure.
And we had a couple bumps here and there,
yeah,
design-wise, that we had to fix and go back and take care of. So tentatively, we're looking at receiving product late November, mid-December, and start shipping out to everybody. Hopefully, it'd be nice to get them in time to get them out to everybody by Christmas, but there again, it's just, holiday season, things get slow. Shipping can definitely get its hiccups.
Yeah, but hopefully at the worst, soon after.
And, I just want everybody to know that I'm an open book. I don't have nothing to hide. I want to get these toys to as fast as possible. That's my goal.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to talk over you there. I love the black pad Road Warriors. I like the red pad WWE. Don't get me wrong, but man, those black pads. That's to me is the Road Warriors. That's the Legion of Doom.
And then we had to, since we did the gauntlets on the black ones, we had to go ahead and make the red and black ones for the red pads.
There you go.
So people will be able to buy those if they've already got the red LOD. They'll be able to buy a set of the gauntlets. Now, what we're doing right now, we haven't hit that number yet. Surprisingly, the first 500 people that buy the black padded Road Warriors gets a set of the red ones, the red gauntlets as well.
Gotcha. See, that's the attention for the fans there that you guys deliver. Again, what is that site? You didn't give me the website address.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's the nerdclosetonline.com.
Okay. So that's where they go. The purchase, right? Everything's, like you mentioned earlier, that's all coming through you, right?
Yes.
If they order there, you're the man that's fulfilling those orders when it's time.
Yes.
So easy.
And then,
what might be stressful for you, it's an easy process. Very streamlined.
Right. And then as far as like updates for like new products and what we got coming down the road, we stay up on our Instagram pretty heavy. Now I'm trying to square away our Twitter or X page that we haven't really been using. But I'm trying to update that as we speak so we can and start putting announcements on there as well. And of course, we have a Facebook page as well under Nerd Closet Online. It's a public page that anybody can check out.
Yeah. So
anything I post on Instagram will end up on the Facebook page as well.
Yeah. So what's that Instagram? Is it under the Nerd Closet or refresh my memory? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's under Nerd Closet.
Gotcha. Which is great. Instagram to me that's the best place when you're going.
It is
toy wise because it's a picture driven app, and that's what
that's
what works. It's very, very cool because you get to see those renderings.
And then Facebook is more community, and how they've tied in the reels and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a flip through type of thing. So we don't. It's not our main source of marketing, but any little bit helps.
Yeah. Well, I will throw some of those links in the show description to the site, to the I'll do the site and the Instagram. So anybody that wants to give you a follow or place an order or just look through, just look in the show description. It'll be
I appreciate that.
An easy click link for you to get there. Again, I love this. I love this line. I love so far, I'm a tag team guy. So starting off with some of these strong tag teams you automatically hook me. The Steiners, the Legion of Doom, Pirates, Pain, Demolition, all those guys. I'm a tag team guy. I love tag teams. And so that was, you hooked me right from the get-go. They just look so cool. They're so great. If anybody,
stay tuned
definitely
to Wave 3 because we're going to be doing some different things in Wave 3 that we didn't do in the first two waves.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, definitely. And I know you mentioned Slaughter coming up in the future and a thing earlier.
Slaughter and Hacksaw. We're going to do all full-on patriotic 2-pack with those guys.
Right, and I know you shared me a picture with me. Oh, excellent.
And a lot of people are like, oh, well, those aren't the right outfits for the right era when they were tag teams. Well, it's not. I'm not trying to be that accurate.
Sure.
I'm just trying to be. I wanted that set to be patriotic. To be honest, I wanted it to be full-on red, white, and blue, stars and stripes, with Sarge in his red, white, and blue gear and Hacksaw in his. And I wanted it to mash together that way.
That's right.
I'm not saying that the old school Sarge and Hacksaw may or may not come down the road because that option is always there.
It's not necessarily a tag team pack. It's just a 2-pack. And it's very, very much signature looks for both of them. Very, very.
And we're going to try to do different things with the 2-packs. We're going to do like a legacy collection and have, maybe 2 different looks of a certain guy, or we might do a grudge match 2-pack where it makes sense where they've had a historic match together. Just to give you an example, so you could do a Flair and a Macho Man WrestleMania 8, 2-pack, that kind of thing. And not all 2-packs have to be tag teams.
That's right.
They can be anything as long as it fits.
That's right. And lots of cool, just like with the Legion of Doom, right? You did the red shoulder pad guys, and then you were able to do the black. So there's lots of just little things like that's unique looks for these guys that you can dive into and explore. There's all kinds of opportunity.
I agree.
Yeah, and it's just exciting to me. Again, I'm a big fan of your line. Very unique.
I appreciate it.
It has set itself apart from others. It really helps me remember and harkens back to when wrestling really hooked me and was bigger than life, and it helps me remember that. And I just love it. I love the figures, love the packaging, love the approach. Super excited for the future. I love the toys, and it was good to talk toys with you. I hope people who listen who maybe aren't toy guys, or maybe aren't toy collectors, will at least be a little curious, a little
interested.
A little. This is different, right? Give them a look. If you're not a collector, you might be after you see some of these.
And that's the funny thing. One of my design guys that helps me with my vinyl work doesn't collect wrestling.
Yeah.
And when I first showed him our figures that we were going to do, and he says, I don't even collect wrestling figures, but I would collect those.
That's right. Even if you're a fan of any of these guys, but even if you don't collect, these are still cool looking figures that would look good sitting on your desk or sitting on the shelf, or
I agree.
Yeah, out there as if you're going to have something, this is a good choice. So again, hit those. I'm going to put the links in the show descriptions. Hit those up. At least give it a look for me. And do me that favor, even if you're not a collector, just go look and appreciate the time, the effort, and the great appreciation. Again, I'm a nostalgia-driven podcast, so it's great to talk to a nostalgia-driven toy company, and that gets that, and
That's definitely
appreciates.
us.
Yeah, appreciates that pass, and that's not saying nostalgia is a weird thing, right? Because you have guys like the major players. It's not to say that those guys can't still stir that same feeling, right? I mean, Matt Cardona is a very nostalgia appreciative guy.
Very much so.
Yeah,
very much so.
And in many ways. So again, Rocky, thanks for coming on. It was a blast. I haven't had a toy guy on yet. You're the first.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
man.
and
I appreciate you taking the time to invite me, and I'm really happy that we got to do this.
Hey ho, everybody. Subscribe to the Pinhead Pod, the Ramones fan podcast, bringing you interviews, news, deep dives, and much more. Look it up on your favorite podcast platform. That is Pinhead Pod.
Available on all streaming platforms. It's professional wrestling's greatest, largest, privately owned wrestling library. All the classic hits, flips, slams, and pins of yesteryear are on one place. It's Ultimate Classic Wrestling. Check out the Nature Boy Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Mr. USA Tony Atlas, Tito Santana, Rick Martel, a who's who of professional wrestling's greatest spotlight stars ever to grace the squared circle, all in one place. Grab the best seat in the house for memories and mayhem on Ultimate Classic Wrestling.
Hey guys, Ray Russell here. Lots of new stuff happening here at WrestleCopia. If you haven't checked out our website at rasslepod.com, it's a great way to keep up with the latest episodes of all of your favorite Copia programming, from the Wrestling Memory Grenade to Regional Wrestling with the Territory Talk, the Wrestling Stoop with the legendary Bob Roop, and of course all of those programs also available at your favorite podcast streaming platforms. And if you want to stay up to date with everything going on in the Copia world, all the latest news, random thoughts, fun videos, pictures, and more, make sure to join the more than 33,000 followers over at facebook.com/wrestlinggrenade. Don't be left out. And last but definitely not least, it's what keeps the entire machine going. I'm talking about patreon.com/WrestleCopia. We appreciate your support in helping us pay the bills to keep the WrestleCopia podcast network running and enabling us to continue to bring you all the quality programming that we offer.
All right, and thank you to Rocky for coming on and talking toys with me. It was so much fun. We'll have him back on in the future because I could always talk toys. Guys, make sure you follow me on social media. I'm pretty much on all the platforms. Just look up Nostalgic Dave Dynasty or at The Dave Dynasty, and you can find me. Also, be sure to subscribe to me on YouTube for lots of classic wrestling content, plus all my various podcasts. Go check out all the other WrestleCopia Network podcasts. You can find the individual shows on your favorite podcast platform, or you can visit WrestleCopia.com. Also, be sure to check out my friends at the Ultimate Classic Wrestling Library. Visit ClassicWrestling.net to sign up for your account, and then download the app on all of your smart devices. All right, guys, next episode, my guest is going to be a former NWA and AWA Tag Team Champion and one half of the Bolsheviks, Boris Zukov. That was my best impression. Not very good. Anyway, be sure to subscribe, set the show to auto download so you don't miss that episode or any of the others, because that is going to be a fun episode with Comrade Boris. All right, until that episode, guys, wherever you go, whatever you do, be good, be safe, and always keep on growing.
Fans, we brought you All-Star Championship Wrestling. This is Sam Maniacs thanking you for being with us and saying until next time, so long, everyone.